The night Teniola's world fell apart, even the walls of their house seemed to hold its breath. Outside, the Lagos rain came in waves, hammering the tin roof, drowning the sound of the city. Inside, the air was thick, like it had been waiting for this argument to happen all along. 10 years, Teniola! Kunle's voice roared through the living room. 10 years and not even one son. What have you given me? Nothing but daughters. Teniola froze near the window, one hand pressed to her chest, as if she could stop her heart from breaking out of her ribs. Kunle, stop, she whispered. Zara and Mimi are our blessings. Blessings? Kunle spat the word like poison. Girls are not blessings, Teniola. Girls are kitchen property. I need a boy, a man to carry my name. The thunder outside cracked, as if the sky itself disagreed. Teniola took a shaky step forward. Kunle, you can't mean this. We built everything together, this house, the business, our lives. He cut her off with a bitter laugh. My friends warned me. Kunle, they said, don't marry that orphan from Ibadan. She'll bring you nothing but shame. But I didn't listen. I thought love could feed me. I thought your prayers could give me a son. Teniola's hands trembled. Please don't. I'm done, he barked, grabbing his car keys. I found someone who can give me what you never could. Her heart stopped. What are you saying? I'm saying I want a divorce. Pack your things and leave my house tonight. She stumbled backward, her knees hitting the cold marble floor. Kunle, no, not like this. From the hallway, two small faces peeked. Twins, 10 years old, clutching each other's hands. Zara, the bolder one, ran forward. Daddy, please forgive Mommy, she cried. Mimi followed, tears rolling down her round cheeks. Please, Daddy, don't chase us away. Kunle turned on them like a storm. Get out. Both of you. You're just like her. Useless. Daddy, Mimi whispered. Does Grandma belong to the kitchen too? For a second silence, then the slap of his voice. Kneel down! Both of you! Teniola rushed to her daughters, wrapping them in her arms as Kunle stormed upstairs. We're leaving, she whispered through tears. We'll be okay. The rain fell harder. That night, Teniola packed their things, a few dresses, school books, in a small purse holding what was left of her savings. When dawn came, the three of them stepped out into the gray morning. The iron gate clanged shut behind them, like judgment. She had no family left, no parents, no brothers. All she had were her two daughters, her entire world, and the quiet prayer that God hadn't forgotten her. They walked through the bustling streets of Agege, their clothes soaked, their stomachs empty. They passed children in neat uniforms, climbing into SUVs. Mimi stared at them silently, clutching at her mother's hand. At the market, the smell of roasted corn filled the air. People stared, some whispering, others pretending not to. At last, they reached a small roadside church. Its paint peeling, its sign half-faded, Christ Light Ministry. The gate was open, and beneath a mango tree sat a lone wooden bench. Teniola led the girls there. Mommy, are we sleeping here? Zara asked. Teniola forced a smile. Just for a while, my love. Minutes later, a man in a white shirt and black trousers walked out of the church. His face carried the calm of someone who had seen pain before. Good morning, he said softly. I'm Pastor Henry. What brings you here so early? Teniola rose quickly. Pastor, we have nowhere to go. My husband sent us away because I gave him only girls. Henry's eyes dimmed with sorrow. Come inside, he said after a pause. You and the children need food and rest. Inside the modest parsonage, Teniola wept quietly as her daughters ate warm rice for the first time in 2 days. Henry watched them, torn between compassion and fear, because he knew what his wife would say, and he was right. When she returned, her sharp voice sliced through the house like a blade. Henry, who are these people? He stood, trying to stay calm. They are homeless. God sent them to us, her eyes flashed. God sent you a woman and her children, or God sent you temptation? It's not like that. Then send them away, or I'll call my father and he'll take back that church he built for you. The house fell silent. Henry's throat tightened. He turned to Teniola, who was already gathering her daughter's bags. Pastor, she said softly, thank you. For the food, for everything. May God bless you. He opened his mouth, but no words came. He watched them walk out into the night as guilt burned in his chest. Outside, the streets were alive with noise and headlights. Teniola held her daughter's hands and whispered, we'll find another way. They didn't notice the black SUV that slowed behind them. Madam, a deep voice called out, are you okay? You're walking in the middle of the road, Teniola turned. A tall man in a dark blue suit stood beside the car, rain glistening on his shoulders. His tone was calm but commanding. I'm fine, she said quickly. He studied her, the wet clothes, the exhausted eyes, the trembling children. No, you're not, he said quietly. Get in. You and the girls. I won't hurt you. Teniola hesitated, but something in his gaze, steady, kind protective, made her nod. He drove them through Ikoyi, past mansions glowing under streetlights. When he stopped, she saw a compound so wide it looked like a small resort. My name is Damalola, he said as the gates opened. Welcome home. Teniola's breath caught. Home? Yes, he said simply. From tonight, you and your daughters will not sleep on the street again. Inside the mansion, light bounced off marble floors. A scent of lavender filled the air. Damalola turned to her gently. You don't need to thank me. I was once saved by a stranger too. Teniola looked around, still clutching her daughters. Why are you helping us? He smiled faintly. Because someone once called me useless too. And I promised myself that when I saw Pain wearing that same face, I would not look away. She said nothing, only looked at him through tears. That night, for the first time since her husband's rage burned her world down, Teniola slept in peace. The next morning in Damalola's house felt like a different world. For the first time in weeks, Teniola and her daughters woke up to silence that wasn't filled with fear. The curtains danced softly with the morning breeze. The bedsheets were clean and smelled of lavender. Zara blinked as sunlight touched her face. Mommy, she whispered. This bed feels like cloud. Teniola smiled faintly, brushing the girl's cheek. Now God do am, my baby. Sleep well? Yes, Ma, Zara said, sitting up and yawning wide. From the kitchen, the smell of toast and eggs drifted in. Teniola turned, surprised. Damalola was already there, dressed in a simple white shirt and jeans, stirring tea like a man used to doing things for himself. Good morning, Asai, he said as they entered, still shy from the newness of everything. I hope you rested. Yes, sir, Teniola said softly. Sir? He smiled. I beg, just call me Damalola. She hesitated. I can't just... He waved it off. In this house, nobody they call anybody sir. We eat together, laugh together, and thank God together. That's all. Zara and Mimi looked at each other and grinned. Thank you, Uncle Dami, they chorused. He laughed. That's better. As they ate, Teniola's heart kept whispering, this kindness cannot be real. She had learned that people rarely helped without expecting something. But Damalola was different. His calm didn't feel forced. He spoke softly, moved with quiet confidence, and had that air of someone who had carried pain and turned it into discipline. When she offered to wash the dishes, he shook his head. Leave them. I have someone who comes by noon. Just rest for now. Your daughters will resume school next week. Teniola blinked. School? Yes, I already called a friend who runs a private academy. They will start there. Education no be privilege. It's their right. Teniola's throat tightened. She wanted to speak, to say thank you, but her voice broke. He noticed and smiled gently. Eat your food before it gets cold. That was how the healing started. Quietly, one meal, one smile, one safe night at a time. By the third week, Teniola had begun to breathe again. The twins wore new uniforms, shoes that fit, and laughter that came from their stomachs. When Damalola dropped them off at Silverleaf Academy, every teacher stared at the beautiful pair who spoke politely and smiled shyly. Mimi came home the first day bursting with stories. Mommy, our class has computer, like real one, and our teacher said girls can be pilots too. Zara nodded, excitement sparkling in her eyes. And she said girls can even be president. Teniola smiled faintly. Una go be anything way una wambi. Just keep your heart clean. That night, she sat alone on the balcony, watching the Lagos skyline flicker with lights. Somewhere far across the city, Kunle would be sitting with his new woman, probably celebrating his freedom. The thought still hurt, but the pain had started to lose its sting. Meanwhile, across town, Kunle's house had changed. It was louder, gaudier, and smelled of new perfume and bad decisions. Cynthia, his new fiancée, had turned everything upside down. The curtains were red, the lights dim, and the once peaceful space now felt like a nightclub. Kunle sat with his drink, smiling lazily as Cynthia danced in front of him in a silk robe. You like the new furniture, baby? She teased. I like everything about you, Kunle said, grinning like a teenager. But Cynthia's smile was thin. Her mind was somewhere else. Later that night, she stood on the balcony, whispering on the phone. Yes, he's eating from my palm already, she said quietly. Give it 6 months. We'll own everything. Her voice dropped. No, he doesn't suspect a thing. The fool chased his wife out for me. She chuckled softly, the sound cutting through the night. One Sunday afternoon, Damalola took Teniola and the girls to a quiet park near Lekki. It was their first family outing. The twins ran around chasing pigeons while Teniola sat under a tree, her laughter free for the first time in years. Damalola joined her on the bench, sipping coconut water. You know, he said, you laugh differently now. Freer, she smiled shyly. Because peace no get price. He nodded slowly. True talk. They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the twins play. Then Damalola spoke again, his tone softer. Teniola, I don't know what plans life has, but since that night I saw you, it's like my house came alive again. She turned toward him, unsure what to say. He continued, I know you've been through fire, but sometimes fire no day burn only, a day purify too. Her eyes softened. You talk like pastor. He laughed quietly. I used to be one. Really? Yes, years ago, before I lost my wife and son in an accident. After that, I stopped preaching. Just focused on business. Maybe helping you that night was God's way of reminding me he's not done with me yet. Teniola lowered her eyes, touched. Maybe he wanted to heal us both. They shared a quiet look, the kind that didn't need words. Months passed. The boutique Damalola helped Teniola start, House of Zara and Mimi, quickly became one of the most talked about in Lekki Phase 1. Celebrities ordered custom gowns. Even politicians' wives sent their drivers to pick up fabrics. One day, a customer walked in and froze. It was Kunle's business partner, Mr. Odion. Teniola? He blurted. She looked up, surprised. Mr. Odion, Long time. He blinked. You own this place? Yes, she said simply. Odion's mouth fell open. Ah, Kunle thought you were in the village suffering. He even said, Teniola cut him off gently. Sometimes people's assumptions are God's camouflage. Tell Kunle I wish him well. Odion left the boutique dazed, but before the week ended, Kunle had heard the news. At first he laughed. That useless woman? Boutique? In Lekki? Abeg, Odion, no they talk nonsense. But when Odion showed him the boutique's Instagram page, hundreds of followers, pictures of Teniola standing beside Damalola at a product launch, Kunle's laughter died in his throat. He zoomed in on Damalola's face. Who's that man? Damalola Olarunfemi, Odion said, the billionaire who built City Crest Estates. Kunle's hand tightened around his phone. So she found herself a rich man. Good for her. But deep inside, jealousy clawed at his chest like a wild thing. He slammed his drink on the table. She thinks she's better than me now? Cynthia, lounging nearby, smirked. Baby, calm down. You already won. You're marrying me soon, Kunle forced a smile, but the seed of insecurity had already been planted. The night before their engagement party, Cynthia lay on the couch, scrolling through Instagram. She paused at a picture of Teniola smiling beside Damalola and the twins. Her nails dug into the phone. So she's living soft now, she muttered. Kunle looked up. Who? Your ex-wife. She looks happy, he sneered. Let her enjoy it while it lasts. Cynthia smiled faintly, but her eyes glowed with quiet fury. Oh, she will. She'll enjoy watching me wear her husband's ring that Sunday. Kunle mailed an invitation, hand-delivered, embossed in gold. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Kunle Adesina and Cynthia Okafor. We request your presence with your children as we celebrate love and new beginnings. When Teniola read it, she felt her stomach twist. Her hands trembled. Zara found her standing by the window, the letter shaking in her fingers. Mommy, what is it? Teniola folded it quickly. Nothing, my dear. Just nonsense from the past. When Damalola came home that evening, she handed him the card. He read it silently, then placed it on the table. So this is his plan? To humiliate you again? Her eyes burned. Let him have his wedding. I'm not going, Giden. Damalola leaned back in his chair, a slow smile forming. Oh, you'll go. What? She asked sharply. Yes, he said calmly, but not the way he expects. You'll go as the woman he threw away, reborn. You'll go like royalty. Teniola frowned. Dami, Abeg, I no get energy for drama. This is not drama, he said. It's dignity. She sighed. And what if people laugh? He met her eyes. Then let them laugh while you arrive in a private jet. Her mouth fell open. A what? He smiled faintly. It landed this morning at Murtala Airport. Consider it a family car, just with wings. For the first time in months, Teniola laughed until tears came. You're mad, Dami. Maybe, he said, smiling, but this madness will heal your story. The week of Kunle's wedding rolled in like a bad dream wrapped in expensive perfume. Every radio station in Lagos buzzed about the event of the year. Kunle Adesina, the business mogul, finally tying the knot with the stunning Cynthia Okafor. The newspapers called it a union of class and destiny. But destiny, that mischievous storyteller, was about to flip its script. Teniola wanted nothing to do with it. Every time she saw the invitation on the dressing table, she felt something between anger and pity. Why would a man who broke your heart invite you to his wedding? Damalola asked one evening as they sat on the balcony, watching the city lights shimmer. She shrugged. Maybe to prove he's happy, or maybe to remind me I once begged to stay. He leaned back, smiling faintly. Then go and remind him that peace looks better on you. Teniola frowned. You really think I should go? Oh yes, Damalola said. We'll go, but not as guests, as headlines. She laughed nervously. The bag don't start. He smiled. I already called my pilot. Teniola blinked. Pilot? Yes, Damalola said casually. The jet is ready. We'll land right beside the wedding field. It's time Lagos remembers what grace looks like. She laughed despite herself. You and your drama. He stood and kissed her forehead gently. My kind of drama heals reputations. The day of the wedding arrived blazing hot, the kind of Lagos sun that made car roofs too hot to touch. At Victory Gardens Event Center in Lekki, the crowd was thick. Banners stretched across the gate. Adesina's forever. Champagne flowed like rain. Influencers, politicians, and socialites filled the hall, snapping pictures and gossiping. Cynthia floated through the crowd in a glittering gold gown, her smile bright but sharp enough to cut glass. Kunle strutted beside her, proud like a peacock. Baby, you look like a goddess, he whispered. She smirked. I know. Then came the part he'd been waiting for. The humiliation. Kunle turned to one of the ushers. Make sure my ex-wife and her daughters sit in front. I want them to see the life they lost. The usher nodded and hurried away. But fate had other plans. 2 hours later, just as the MC was cracking jokes about love and loyalty, a deep rumble tore through the sky. Everyone looked up. A sleek white private jet sliced through the clouds and descended slowly toward the small airstrip beside the venue. The band went silent. The DJ froze mid-beat. Even the bride's fake eyelashes trembled. What in God's name is that? Someone gasped. The jet touched down like a movie scene. The doors opened, and 3 figures stepped out, radiant in matching emerald green. Teniola descended first, tall and graceful, her gown glittering in the sunlight. Her daughters followed, now young ladies, confident and poised, their natural curls bouncing. The crowd erupted into murmurs. Now she be that? Kunla's ex-wife? Ha, she don't blow o. See that fine man beside her? That's Damalola Olarunfemi. Abino be the billionaire way they fund hospitals and real estate? Kunle's glass slipped from his hand and shattered. Cynthia's smile stiffened. Teniola? He whispered, his throat dry. Before he could blink, Teniola and Damalola entered the field, cameras flashing like lightning. Every phone in the hall was raised. The woman he had called useless now walked like royalty. Cynthia's jaw tightened. Baby, she hissed under her breath. You told me she was finished. Kunle swallowed. I don't understand. Damalola walked up to Teniola, his confidence calm but unshakable. The crowd parted like water. Then he did something nobody expected. He went down on one knee. The murmurs turned into silence. From his pocket, he pulled out a small velvet box. The diamond inside caught the sun and threw light across the faces watching. Teniola, he said, his voice steady and rich. From the moment I met you, I knew your worth wasn't lost, just buried under pain. You brought peace into my home, laughter into my heart, and purpose into my life. Will you marry me? For a moment, the whole venue stopped breathing. Cynthia's mouth hung open. Kunle looked like a man watching his own karma unfold in high definition. Teniola smiled through tears. Yes, Damalola. I will. The crowd exploded in cheers. Even the MC dropped his mic. People began chanting her name. Tenny! Tenny! Photographers swarmed. Guests stood on chairs to record. Instagram went wild before the ceremony even ended. And Kunle? He stood frozen, his face pale, his pride bleeding silently. Cynthia leaned close to him and whispered, You said she was useless. Seems her only mistake was loving you. Kunle turned sharply. Shut up, Cynthia. But she only laughed. Relax, darling. I'll still marry you. Maybe your ex will lend us her jet for honeymoon. He glared at her. You're crossing the line, Cynthia smirked, and you're crossing into bankruptcy. Did you even notice the people here whispering? Half of them now respect her more than you. By nightfall, videos of the event had gone viral. Headline, Kunle's ex-wife shuts down his wedding with billionaire fiancé proposal. Lagos loses its mind. The internet baptized Teniola as the woman who came back shining. Twitter was on fire. Never look down on a woman who once prayed for you. Kunle called her useless. Damalola called her queen. Simple mathematics. Damalola didn't respond to any of it. He simply smiled when he saw the news. Let them talk, he told Teniola. The real power is in silence. Across town, Kunle's house was quiet that night. Too quiet. Cynthia stood by the mirror, removing her makeup. Her reflection smirked back at her. Why are you so calm? Kunle asked bitterly. You saw how that man humiliated me today. She shrugged. Humiliation? Number. That was divine karma. What's that supposed to mean? It means you made a fool of yourself long before today, she said coolly. You just didn't know the world was watching. Kunle stared at her. Who are you, really? She smiled faintly, turning back to the mirror. You'll find out soon enough. A week later, Damalola and Teniola had their private court wedding. No cameras, no noise, just vows whispered between two people who understood what loss felt like. Zara and Mimi stood beside them, their faces glowing. Teniola's voice trembled as she said, I once begged a man to love me. Now I thank God for a man who never asked for proof. Damalola smiled, and I thank God for the woman he used to teach me grace again. When the registrar pronounced them husband and wife, Teniola's tears fell freely, not of sorrow, but relief. That night she knelt beside her bed and whispered, Lord, thank you. You turned my disgrace into a crown. But miles away, something darker was brewing. Cynthia's so-called brother Kelvin had now moved fully into Kunle's mansion. At first, Kunle didn't notice the small things. The missing cash, the secret calls, the late-night whispers. But one evening he came home early and heard them laughing upstairs. He paused outside the door. Then he heard Cynthia's voice. You think he suspects? Kelvin's laugh followed. Suspect what? The man still, they believe, say you be his golden ticket. I even collect 10 million from him last week. Cynthia giggled. He no go ever know, say this baby now yours. Kunle's world froze. The laughter inside turned into thunder in his ears. He pushed the door open. What did you just say? Cynthia's eyes widened. Only for a second, and then she smirked. Oh, you finally heard Kunle's face contorted. You mean the baby is not yours, Kelvin said, standing tall. She belongs to a real man. Kunle staggered backward. You both betrayed me? Cynthia laughed, sharp and cruel. You betrayed yourself when you threw away the only woman who ever loved you. Enjoy the taste of your own medicine. They brushed past him, luggage already packed. As they walked out, Cynthia threw one last glance over her shoulder. Next time you want a son, start with being a man. The door slammed. Kunle sank to the floor, his breast shaking. The house was empty again, but this time the silence was punishment. He drank all night, glass after glass, his mind spinning between rage and regret. By dawn, his car engine roared to life. He muttered as he drove through the storm, I just want to see Teniola. Maybe she can forgive me. But fate had drawn its last line. The tires screeched on the wet highway. The car hit the median and flipped. Once, twice. Silence. By morning, all that remained was twisted metal and the sound of rain. Kunle Adesina, the man who called his daughters useless, was gone. The morning after the crash, Lagos woke up in chaos. Social media boiled with rumors. Big businessman Kunle Adesina dead in car accident on 3rd Mainland Bridge. Sources say alcohol and heartbreak were involved. Somebody check on that. His new wife, Way Kosawahala. At first, people thought it was another fake headline. But by noon, the pictures came. The crushed SUV, the mangled steering wheel, the single gold wristwatch found on the road. And just like that, the man who once called his daughters useless became a cautionary tale. Teniola found out later that evening. Damalola handed her his phone silently, the headline glaring. She read it once, and then again. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Finally, she whispered, "He's dead?" Damalola nodded slowly. "Yes." She sat back on the sofa, her face blank. The storm outside matched the one in her chest. I don't even know what to feel," she said quietly. "After all the pain, I thought I wanted him to suffer. But now that it's happened." Damalola took her hand gently. "Sometimes justice comes looking like tragedy. Don't confuse the two." Teniola blinked away tears. "He was the father of my children." "Yes," Damalola said softly, "and they deserve to remember that, but also to know the truth. That cruelty never wins." Across town, Cynthia sat in a luxury hotel suite, scrolling through the same news. Kelvin stood by the window, smoking and laughing under his breath. "So the fool finally crashed himself," he said. "Good riddance." Cynthia didn't laugh. Her mind was racing. "Kelvin," she said sharply, "do you realize what this means? Everything he owned will be investigated. His will, his assets, his accounts." Kelvin turned, smirking. "Which means we move fast." "Move fast?" "Yes, the man is gone. You were his wife. Legally or not, you're next of kin. You can claim his property before any Wahala starts." Cynthia bit her lip. "You think it's that easy?" Kelvin blew a lazy puff of smoke. "With me around, it will be." But fate, as usual, was listening. 2 days later, Cynthia and Kelvin arrived at the lawyer's office to claim Kunle's estate. The lawyer, a thin man with glasses that never seemed to sit straight, looked at them with weary politeness. "Mrs. Adesina," he said, "I understand your urgency. But unfortunately, Mr. Adesina's assets are currently under investigation. There are irregularities, multiple withdrawals, foreign transfers, and unpaid taxes." Cynthia frowned. "Meaning?" "Meaning," the lawyer said flatly, "his accounts are frozen. And until the audit is complete, no funds can be accessed by anyone." Kelvin's jaw tightened. "So we came for nothing?" The lawyer shrugged. "For now." Cynthia rose, her face hard. "Thank you for wasting our time," she snapped. As they stormed out, Kelvin hissed, "Don't worry. We'll find something. There must be cash hidden somewhere." That night, they drove to Kunle's old mansion, the same one Cynthia had helped redesign with red curtains and lies. The gatekeeper hesitated when he saw them. "Madam, they say this place belongs to government now." Cynthia's slap came faster than the sentence. "Open the gate, fool." He obeyed. Inside, the house smelled of dust and regret. Kelvin tore through the drawers, cupboards, and wardrobes, searching for money, documents, anything. Hours later, they sat on the floor, surrounded by papers and nothing of value. Kelvin kicked a chair. "Useless man. He died broke." Cynthia stared blankly at the wall. "No, he couldn't have. He always kept emergency cash." Kelvin laughed coldly. "Then maybe he took it with him to hell." She glared at him. "Don't talk like that." He stepped closer. "Wihamwe, you scared now? You think his ghost go come collect rent?" "Kelvin, please." "Please what? You dragged me into this nonsense. You said we go enjoy after the man die. Where the enjoyment now?" "Lower your voice," Kelvin laughed louder. "You dey fear?" Too late for that. He grabbed her wrist. "You think I did all this for free? I want my share now." Cynthia yanked free. "Are you mad?" Before she could blink, he slapped her. The sound echoed through the empty house. Her eyes flared. Without thinking, she reached for the nearest thing, a broken vase, and swung it. It shattered against his head. Kelvin staggered back, blood trickling down his temple. His eyes darkened. "You go regret that." He lunged. They struggled, knocking over furniture, slipping on broken glass. Outside, thunder rolled again, just like the night Kunle had chased Teniola away. Only this time, the devil had come for the right house. Minutes later, silence fell. A neighbor, hearing the commotion, ran to the window and froze. Through the curtains, he saw Cynthia kneeling beside Kelvin, her hands trembling, her dress soaked in blood. "Somebody help!" she screamed. "He attacked me. I didn't mean to." By the time police arrived, it was over. Cynthia was arrested that night for manslaughter. The news spread fast. From gossip blogs to evening TV, everyone had an opinion. Cynthia Okafor, wife of late businessman Kunle Adesina, arrested for murder. 2 lovers, 1 grave mistake. Lagos karma never sleeps. When Teniola saw the headlines, she didn't smile. She simply closed her laptop and whispered, "Peace doesn't always come gently." Damalola placed a hand on her shoulder. "Some lessons are written in fire so the world can read them." She nodded slowly. "But at least now it's over." He looked at her, smiling faintly. "No, now it's beginning weeks turned into months. The boutique thrived. Silverleaf Academy awarded Zara and Mimi as best students in science and arts. Teniola became something of a silent inspiration. Women whispered her story in salons and markets. She'd be the woman we bounce back from ashes. If life dragged you, just remember Teniola. Even men secretly learned something from her silence. That power isn't always loud. One sunny afternoon, Damalola came home early, holding a white envelope. "What's this?" Teniola asked. He smiled. "News." She opened it slowly, then gasped. "A pregnancy test. Positive." She covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. "Dami," he laughed softly. "You no even give me a chance to talk." She threw her arms around him, laughing and crying all at once. "I can't believe this," she said. "At my age?" He kissed her forehead. Miracles don't check birthdays. When they told Zara and Mimi that night, the girls screamed and danced. "Mommy, we're getting a baby brother," Mimi shouted. "Or sister," Teniola teased. "Brother?" they insisted. She smiled, watching them spin in circles. For the first time in years, her home was loud again, but this time with joy. Months later, Teniola sat in a quiet hospital room cradling two newborns, twin boys. Their cries filled the air, soft and strong. Damalola stood beside her, eyes wet, voice trembling. "You did it, my queen." Teniola smiled faintly. "No, we did outside." Rain began to fall, soft and cleansing. It was the same kind of rain that had witnessed her pain years ago, but this time it fell as blessing, not curse. Teniola looked down at the twins and whispered, "You see, my sons, love never wastes. It just waits." But across the city, Cynthia's story ended differently. Her trial dragged for months, and when the verdict came, it was harsh. The once glamorous woman was sentenced to 15 years in prison. During the sentencing, she broke down and wept. "I just wanted to be loved," she sobbed. But love by then had moved on, and Lagos, ever restless, moved with it. On the first anniversary of Kunle's death, Teniola took her daughters and newborns to a quiet beach in Oniru. She lit a candle in the sand. Zara asked softly, "Mommy, why are we lighting candle for Daddy?" "He hurt you." Teniola smiled gently. "Because forgiveness is not for him, it's for us." The waves whispered against the shore. She placed the candle down and closed her eyes. "Rest, Kunle. You were my storm, but because of you, I learned how to dance in the rain." The next morning, air was soft, the kind that carried both peace and memory. Teniola stood by the wide glass window of her new home, a mansion overlooking the Lekki Lagoon, the same place where her boutique, her love, and her story had risen from dust. The twins, barely 6 months old, slept soundly in their cradle. Zara and Mimi were upstairs preparing for school, giggling about hairstyles and lunch packs. The house smelled of pancakes and new beginnings. Damalola walked in quietly behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Still awake before the sun?" he teased. She smiled. "Old habits. Sometimes I still wake up expecting noise, shouting, fear, doors slamming." He kissed her cheek. "Those days are gone, my love." She nodded slowly. "Yes, but they built me." He smiled, looking out at the water. "And look at what they built. Strength, grace, and peace." She chuckled softly. "You sound like a poet this morning." "Poets talk too much," and he said. "I just tell the truth." Later that day, Teniola drove to a house of Zara and Mimi, now expanded into a 3-story fashion hub. Inside, her staff moved gracefully. Tailors, designers, stylists, all working with quiet pride. She walked through the showroom, running her hand along the racks of Ankara, silk, and lace. Her reflection in the mirror made her pause. There she was, the same woman who once left her house barefoot with nothing but 2 daughters and a prayer. Now she was the face of a brand that inspired thousands. Customers whispered her story with admiration. Influencers called her the Phoenix of Lekki, but she just smiled when people said her name, because she knew this glow wasn't luck. It was survival wearing confidence like perfume. One afternoon, Teniola was invited to speak at a women's conference in Victoria Island. The hall was full. Women from all walks of life, bankers, traders, single mothers, widows, and dreamers. When she took the stage, the crowd went quiet. Her voice was steady. "Some of you know my story," she began, "but today I want to talk about what came after the pain. Because pain doesn't end you, it introduces you to yourself." She paused, scanning the faces. "When life threw me away, I thought I had lost everything. But I didn't know that sometimes God removes you from the table because your seat is in the palace." The crowd erupted in applause. "And if anyone ever calls you useless," she continued, her eyes glistening, "just remember, dust only looks dirty until light touches it. Then it becomes gold." The hall went silent, emotional. Even the air seemed to listen. When she stepped down, a young woman ran up to her, tears in her eyes. "Ma, I was about to give up on my marriage, but your story, it changed something in me." Teniola hugged her gently. "Don't fight to be loved. Fight to love yourself first." That evening, back home, Damalola was in the garden when Teniola joined him. The twins were in their stroller, cooing softly. She leaned on his shoulder. "You know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed with Kunle. Maybe I'd still be begging for crumbs." He looked at her gently. "And the woman standing beside me wouldn't exist." She smiled faintly. "True. God rewrote my story." He nodded. "And he used your scars as the ink." They stayed quiet, watching the sunset spread across the sky like melted gold. In the distance, a flock of birds flew over the lagoon, their wings glinting in the last light of day. Teniola sighed. Funny how life can burn you and bless you with the same fire. Demalola squeezed her hand. That's the kind of fire that doesn't destroy, it purifies. The years passed. Zara got a scholarship to study engineering in Canada. Mimi became a fashion prodigy, designing her first collection at 17. The twins, Kamsi and Karede, grew up bold and brilliant, their laughter filling the house like music. Every corner of their lives told a story, one that began in pain but refused to end there. Teniola became the woman she had prayed to be, not perfect, but peaceful. And in quiet moments, she still visited the little church in Agege, the one where she first met Pastor Henry that morning under the mango tree. She sat there sometimes, not to ask for anything, but just to say thank you. One Sunday, Pastor Henry saw her sitting quietly. He had grown older, his hair fully gray. "My daughter," he said softly, "you came back." She smiled. "Yes, Pastor. I just came to give thanks. God finally finished the painting." He started. He nodded, smiling gently. He always does, in his time. When she left the church that day, rain began to fall lightly, the kind that kissed the earth rather than punished it. As she drove away, her daughter's laughter filled the car, and her heart felt full. The same rain that once washed her tears now felt like blessing drops on her skin. She looked up and whispered, "See me now, Lord. The woman they called useless is shining in your glory." That night, as Lagos slept, the camera of fate panned across the city, from the boutique glowing in Lekki, to the quiet church in Agege, to the empty mansion where Kunle's ghost lingered in regret. And somewhere in between, the universe whispered one last line. When a man calls you worthless, it is not your destiny that has failed. It is his vision that has gone blind. And that, my people, is the story of the woman he called useless. Life has a funny way of turning tables, doesn't it? The same stone they threw away became the cornerstone of success. The same woman they mocked became the headline they couldn't stop talking about. So remember this, when someone calls you worthless, don't fight back with anger. Just keep moving, because one day your peace will speak louder than their pride. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, what lesson did you take from Teniola's journey? And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you never miss another powerful story like this one. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and remember, no matter how dark your night gets, morning will always find you. Thanks for watching.